Happy Friday! Hope you are having a beautiful Friday. It's actually such a gorgeous day outside in Pasadena, California today. It's like 80 degrees, and I'm about to have my friend Malika join me live. And she's in Massachusetts, and she tells me it's also very warm there today as well. Hi, Patrice. Good to see you here. And I know you were on my other live earlier today, so good to see you. Hi, Tanny. Hi, Elise. Let's see if I can get Malika to join. Um, I'm inviting Malika to join. Yes, spring break.
All
There
right.
she is. Hi.
Yay. You made
Yay.
it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, awesome. So it's nice there too, huh? It's been
Yes. I'm so like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like 75. Actually took my sandals out of storage to go on a walk with
oh my
that's
gosh.
how, like, yeah,
It's
I'm
so
amazed.
crazy. Yeah. I was just For those of you who don't know, her like Malika is very much a Cali girl, and she grew up in Southern California. She went to school in the Bay Area, and
Totally.
and now she's living in Massachusetts. And so
So different.
yeah, I always just like think of her and just wonder how she's doing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Elise knows. Finally warm in New England. Will it
yeah,
last? Will
yeah,
it last?
right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we're not here to just talk about the weather. We're also here to talk about a few things. One is the blog post this week that I put up on my blog post, but it was originally a blog post that Malika had written, and I read through it. It was all about owning our own power and ways we're giving up our own power, and it related to me so much. Like, I resonated
Mhm.
with everything that you wrote about this issue. And then also what I really found so interesting is that I really relate to it in the sense of when I help clients to negotiate better too,
Mhm.
right? And something that was really interesting, that came up even this week while I was helping a client to negotiate for a new job that she just got. It was really all about, like, she was giving up so much of her own power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, and it was a moment of both, like, well, first she realized it once we started talking about it, because so many times I think, like, we feel like, oh, they have all the power,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
other person on the other side has all the power when we're negotiating for a raise, or for more money in a new position, or even with clients or
Yeah.
whatever. You feel like the other person has that power to make the decisions, and that's just simply not true in my
Yeah.
experience, right? Like, we have our own power to
Yes.
do this,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. I think it's so, especially in that situation when you just got a job or they're making an offer. I feel like the tendency is like, I want them to like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it easy, like,
Mm-hmm.
what if they change their mind? And I think part of, for, people who identify as women in particular, like, I think one of the hard things about power is that it feels contradictory to being liked, right? Like, it seems like those things do not align. And so we're having to weigh, do I, am I in my fullness? Do I ask for what I want? Am I clear and direct? Or do people like me? And
Mm,
I think that binary is not always real, but that is
mm,
certainly how it is, how it can feel, and
mhm,
like how we're conditioned.
mhm,
So I think what you're saying, like, you do have more power in that situation. is recognizing like they want you. Like that's why they're giving you this job.
Yes.
Nobody's doing you a favor by making you an offer. Like that is just not how business works, right? So
Right.
it's like trusting that, okay, there's something that I'm bringing that they want.
Mm-hmm.
And they also want to make it easy for me to say yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm. Yes.
they don't want to have
100%.
to like find the next best person, or, you know, like if they
Yes.
want you, they want you. And it's
Yes.
like, it takes so much faith to
Mm-hmm.
trust that.
Yeah. And that's such a good point, because I think at the end, once she got the offer, she really, or once she got the amount of money that she wanted or whatever, after the negotiation was over, she was like, they're super excited about having me. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that's why they
yeah,
made you the offer. You were their top candidate. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given you the offer
yeah,
in the first
yeah,
place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's, I feel like there's you know, there's certain like sentence stems that that I try to use when I'm in a negotiation situation, or I share with clients as well. There's a motorcycle going by. We're in farm country out here. It's just, you might see a tractor. Um, but this idea of like, I want to feel really good about saying yes to this offer. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel that now. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
saying that, just articulating, I'm so excited about this position, or, you know, we're aligned in all these ways and I want to feel good about accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
How can you help me feel good about accepting it? Like if we
Mm-hmm.
change these numbers, I would feel great. Right now, I don't feel great. And I don't think you want me to be here unless it feels like a really good fit. Um,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's like nobody wants someone to accept a position that they're doing begrudgingly, or if they feel like they're being undervalued. And I think you see this probably with a lot of your clients, where the mentality is like, well, let me just get in the door, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then later I can show my value or change the situation. Like, better not make it ruffle any feathers at the beginning. Let me just get in at this lower thing, lower
Yes.
title or whatever.
Yes.
And then we know how hard it is once to change that, once you're in at
Yes.
that position, right? So
That's what she started off telling me, was that like
yeah,
I can always just wait until like the next round, because I think they do promotions and raises once a year. But I said, you're gonna leave so much more money on off the table if
yeah,
you start off from this lower price point, right?
yeah,
And so this actually takes us into another conversation that you and I were just having, that I found so enlightening, about equal pay day this past Tuesday,
yes,
right? Like,
yes.
tell me
Oh
again,
my
or
gosh.
what about
I've
this?
been educated this week. I know about equal pay day and I support it, and I did not realize that the day moves each year according to where the wage gap is. So the number of days it is into the year is the number of extra days a woman would have to work to earn the same amount that a man earned in the previous year, in the United States. So that's why it's March 15th this year. Last year it was March 30th. So the gap has closed very, you know, by whatever, 15 days.
Mm-hmm. So
But
what
what
that
I'm,
means is a man can work all of 2021 and make the same amount of money, but a woman has to work all of 2021 plus all of the days up until March 15th of this year
yes,
in
yes,
order to make it equal, the equal
exactly.
amount of money. And
Yes.
you said that, and then this doesn't even apply to people of color, right?
No. So it's like, and I don't know all of the kind of instruments or data that goes into that calculation. Right now they're saying it's 83 cents. Women make 83 cents on the dollar, but that's kind of white women.
Mm-hmm.
It's lower for Asian women. It's lower for Black women. It's lower for Latina women. It's lower for Indigenous women.
Mm-hmm.
And so if those dates were all calculated for these different subgroups, it's like equal pay day for Black women would be in October. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so they'd have to work all of 2021 and then all the way through October to
Mm-hmm.
make like what a white man makes the previous
I mean,
year.
that's almost 2 years, right? That's
Yeah,
almost an
exactly.
additional year
Yes.
before you make the same amount of money.
And this calculation, 83 cents on the dollar, it's only looking at wages. So like pure pay, what you're getting paid salary wise or hourly wages, it does not factor in all of the other benefits that kind of make up our compensation. So, like if somebody is getting health insurance or they have a 401k or, these other, benefits, those add up to a dollar amount too.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was actually calculated in the full picture, it would be closer to 53 cents on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is just, it's
like,
absurd.
I know.
It's
It's
heartening.
almost like half. Yeah. 53 cents to the dollar. Like that's, yeah.
It's important to see these numbers because I think it's sobering and we can forget, especially like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not really in a position where I'm negotiating salary necessarily, but the pay wage gap exists among entrepreneurs too. And women who are kind of in the position of paying themselves, pay themselves less than men. And it's actually a bigger gap in the entrepreneur space, which is, then you have to get to like, okay, well, there's certainly a lot of systemic issues that go into this number historically. And, there are people working on policy fronts to change this. That's absolutely true. And it's not just, if every woman asked for a raise, we would erase the pay gap. Like that's not, I don't think that would solve everything. But I think there are ways that we can advocate more for ourselves on an individual level. And we need to know kind of when we make more money, women are making more money. Like we represent a part of that statistic. And so kind of the more you are able to increase your earnings, the better that is for like women as a whole. It's not just your own kind of seemingly feeling selfish or whatever. Because I think a lot of times it's like, well, it's such a hassle. I don't want to do that work. I don't want to, it's a hassle and it also can be very scary, right? To ask for something different than what was presented to you.
Yeah. And well, what do you think is the main things kind of behind that fear? Because, I think that if we're really addressing that, we need to like look at why are we so afraid of actually asking for more money? Because, and let me give you a quick example of this, is like I know of somebody who actually applied for this job, and then I knew the people in charge of hiring, and I knew that there was a gap between what she accepted. She accepted the first offer. They gave her a certain rate, and this was for a TV producing gig. So it's actually a freelance gig, right? So no benefits or any of that kind of stuff. And she accepted the offer, the first offer, but I knew there was at least $2,000 or $3,000 more in the budget for that position that she left on the table. And when I kind of talked to her about it, was like, why did you accept the first offer? Why didn't you like actually ask for more? And she was like, well, it's because one, I think like, I don't want them to get upset, or like not give me the offer. And I'm like, if they're offering you this, they're going to give you
They want
offer.
you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even if they don't come back exactly what you say you're going to want, like there is this room, right? And then two, I didn't tell her that I knew that there was, because it would have been complicated to actually mention how I knew.
Yeah.
But I find that nobody on the other side usually is like, let me give you the top of our budget either. right?
Right.
Like most of the time, they're also looking to negotiate and see where things land for themselves as well.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think it is about ourselves, especially as women, right? Like, I find more women tend to just accept the first offer
Yeah.
and not negotiate. What do you think it is?
I mean, I think part of it, going back to that, what we were saying in the beginning, like the sense of relief of having a job offer and feeling like you might not get another one. You don't know, you don't want to tempt fate, and you don't want them to change their mind, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like you don't want to be difficult by pushing back or negotiating. I think there's something else that I've seen, which is this sense of like, well, I want to be grateful for that I'm getting a job and that they're going to pay me, and I don't want to come across as ungrateful if
Mm-hmm.
I ask for more, which I think that's really messed up, right? Like effed
Yeah,
up because
because my idea is like it can be both, right? Like you can be
exactly,
super grateful that they
totally,
want you and you're getting this job, and you can negotiate what for more
absolutely,
money and the things that you really feel like um is is what you need to
yes,
live off of or whatever, right? Like
yes,
yeah.
but I think that's something that we need to hear more of, like gratitude and having higher standards for yourself are not mutually exclusive.
Right.
You can be gracious, you can be grateful, you can be excited, and you can also ask for what you want or ask for what
Yes.
you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
you said with that client of like, I don't want them to get upset at me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have this idea that when you ask for more, it's going to make the employer or whoever upset, that anger will be their reaction. And like the worst thing you want to do, this goes back to power, is make somebody mad at you, right? Or cause someone to have a negative emotional response because of your actions. And it's like, well, to your point, it's business. Like as a business,
Yeah.
when you're making an offer, you're not going to offer the top of your budget
No.
as policy
Right.
because you're concerned about the bottom line. And so and that's not always even, I think, from the, you don't I mean, you could look at it as like, well, they don't value these people or whatever, but it's like, it's a financial decision. It's a strategy, right? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like being able to know that without making it mean anything about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be able to like go back and strategy what you need so that it's like you meet in the middle. But I think
100%.
there's a lot of things going on emotionally when we're in that position of wanting a job or
Yeah.
needing or being on this the certain side of that power dynamic where it feels like
Yes.
I want them to like me. I want to make it easy. I don't want to be the squeaky wheel. I don't want to be known as the woman who, needed more money. Maybe they'll just go with somebody who needed less. And like, I think the hard part is like, that could happen, right? Like they could say, okay, you're out of our range or something like that, especially in a freelance situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Maybe.
think more than not, it's if somebody wants to work with you, they want to work with you and they
Yeah.
want to know the terms that is going to make it possible for them to work
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So,
And I believe that if you also can really show them that you are the best candidate, right? So
yeah,
that it doesn't become oh, we can just replace this person with another person
right,
that's cheaper,
right.
situation, right? Like, what is it about you specifically that can do this job in your own unique way that
Yes,
would actually make the product or whatever it is that you're doing even better,
yes, yes.
right?
And that, like going to, the subtle ways that we give away our power, I think
Mm-hmm.
that plays into this piece around devaluing our expertise and our
Mm-hmm.
skills, right? And
Mm-hmm.
why it's so important to know what you're good at and what you bring in the
Mm-hmm.
room and what you do so that you can articulate it in those
Yes.
situations and
Yes.
believe it. And it's
Yes.
not just, oh, my resume speaks for itself. It's like, no, I
Yes.
can actually talk about how I transformed this thing and brought all
Mm-hmm.
these, had all these
Mm-hmm.
results and like, and I feel good talking about it. I don't feel like I'm being arrogant or over the top or whatever. And I think that takes practice, because
Yeah.
we're not often encouraged to talk about ourselves in that way,
Right.
and it might not feel natural, right? But there are moments when you really do need to make it clear why
Mm-hmm.
you are the best choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%. And then when they actually can feel that from you, I mean, it's actually exciting, right? Like
Yeah.
your ability to translate and tell somebody else like what makes you unique and what are your skill sets and talents, um, also translates to them as you're so passionate about this.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
so passionate about this that we're like, yeah, we're excited now, right? We're excited about bringing you on because of not just your kind of quantifiable skill sets, but then also these other, the energy that you're bringing
Yeah.
into that, into that position, makes
Yeah.
them like go, oh yeah, this is so great. Because like even today I was hiring an editor to do some a little side project that I'm working on, and this woman's like enthused. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I was like, oh my goodness. But this woman, like she was just so excited. She was
Mm.
so excited, and then she was excited and had the ability to explain to me why she is a good fit for
Hmm.
this role, right? And the way she would like presented it, it never felt like she was bragging about herself,
Right.
or you know, yeah, like just being overly confident or something. I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even know if there is such a thing, but like, but instead, what it translated to me was that she is the perfect person for it because of like not just her skill set, but also the way she presented her skill set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Showed me that yeah, like this is somebody that I want to work with, and her excitement and passion really is the key there
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It made it easy for you to
Mm-hmm.
make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to keep going because we could, like the two
We
of us could
could.
talk
We
about
could.
this subject forever. But we are going to probably in what was it? We talked about in June, like
Yes.
having a workshop to help you and anyone who is watching or not watching or watching later, to actually be able to negotiate better, to start making more money. Especially as women, we are really, really passionate about helping women to do this, because, yeah, like you were talking about, it's if you take benefits and everything else, we're making 53 cents to the dollar to
Yeah.
men,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, like crazy, right? And even if you didn't take benefits into account, white women are making 83 cents to the dollar. People of color are making way less than 83
Yeah.
cents per dollar. And we want to start to shift that for ourselves and for the generations of other women that are coming,
Yes.
behind us, next to us, all around
Yes.
us, because
Yes.
sometimes when we see somebody else being able to do it, it helps inspire us or inspires us to be able to do it, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important. I was just saying that you have a legacy, whether you know it or not. And so your financial choices, your ability to advocate for yourself, it really does impact other people and the future. And so if you want equal pay day to be on January 1st in the future and not later in the year, it's like you are a part of that shift. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think
Yes.
something that we'll talk about when we get into our workshop
Mm-hmm.
in June, is that it's not just about salary. You know,
Yep.
there's so many ways and places for us to negotiate and to advocate for ourselves. And that it's
Yes.
really kind of a lifestyle, right? Of just
Yes.
expecting more for yourself and asking for it and being able to take that risk. And
Absolutely. Somebody was just
yeah.
talking to me about this, how they felt like they didn't want to change careers or change jobs because they're working for a nonprofit right now, and that nonprofit actually allows them to have a lot more flexibility in their acting career. And however, it's not paying the bills. It's like she's working 40 hours a week at this nonprofit job. Then she goes and works like 15 or 16 hours a week as a bartender. And so it's like, well, what would that mean if you were able to shift into a position where you only work 40 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
And you would get that 16 hours back to actually be able to create and do the
Yeah.
other stuff that you really, really want to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then these are the things you get to negotiate too.
Yes.
You know, especially these days, you know, with the way most people are working now from home. And then also there's like a lack of, I feel like this is actually a really good time for people to get into new positions and all that kind of stuff. Like employers are really looking for good people.
Yeah.
You know, so you get to negotiate what that looks like. You know, if you need to take time off, like you get to say that at the beginning, you know, and set up those expectations so that somebody, you know, your future employers are going, okay, we understand that this is the parameter for, you know, for how you work best, right?
Yes.
Because we want to get the best out of somebody, you know, as an employer.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that speaks to this, just the idea of power and choice, right?
Yes.
I think power is agency and having options. And it's knowing when you have the opportunity to really flex that and to make decisions and to give somebody the opportunity to help you make the choice that you want, you know, and co-create the position or the parameters, right? It's not just what was stated in the job description necessarily. Like you have power to create something different for yourself. So
yes,
so many applications and implications with that. So follow us if you're not already. Stay tuned. We'll be sharing more details over the coming months, but we will be co-leading a workshop around negotiation. So stay tuned for more conversations in the meantime.
Yes, I'm so excited. All right. Well, have a good rest of your day and weekend, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Ro. Good to see you. Bye, Katie.
Bye.